Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this particular specific video. We're talking, of course, about the move of Niklas Sule moving out of Bayern Munich, of course, to Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. That will be, of course, official by the end of the season. Here you can see it on the screen here. Borussia Dortmund reaching an agreement with Niklas Sule, of course, in place for that contract at the end of the season. 5-year contract for Niklas Sule, but it's verbally agreed. It's not exactly, it's not official exactly, but it is, of course, something that will be official pretty soon, according to Fabrizio Romano. That, of course, comes on the back of reports that Borussia, that Niklas Sule, in fact, was leaving Bayern and decided to leave Bayern at the end of his contract with the club. The player came in the 2017-18 season from Hoffenheim at the back of also a brilliant season there with with Julian Nagelsmann back in his Hoffenheim days, and also he came in at a period of Bayern where the club was in a sort of a changing of the guard, where Philipp Lahm was retiring, Robben and Ribéry were pretty much towards the end of their career, Schweinsteiger was long past gone, Xabi Alonso was there, Arturo Vidal was about to leave the club as well. So it was a pretty weird period for Niklas Sule to be at Bayern in anyway. But of course, at the end of it, I mean, he's been in and around, I would say, best form. He hasn't been exactly someone who who hit his best form with that club. Really, injuries, the lack of fitness, sometimes the lack of game time. But he was quite a prominent figure in the 1920 season, where Bayern, of course, won their sextuple and won, of course, all the trophies there. And it was a big part, I think, of that Champions League campaign of 1920. But I think a lack of fitness overall in his Bayern career so far hasn't exactly helped. Anyway, here we're checking, of course, some of the articles, some of what some of the echoes around this news. Of course, leaving the Dortmund, I mean, it's not going to be weird seeing someone from Bayern leave the Dortmund. It happened before, but obviously it happened to a centre-back as recently as 2 years ago. It was Mats Hummels, of course, leaving back to Borussia Dortmund after spending around 5 to 6 years with Bayern Munich as well. So it's a pretty interesting situation as far as Niklas Sule is concerned. Here you can see a done deal at age 26. He's moving on a free for Borussia Dortmund, and amongst all the talk of Chelsea, one of the teams that were, I think, on the top of the list of teams that were demanding the services of Niklas Sule, and the end going to Borussia Dortmund is not exactly the best move, I would say, for Niklas Sule. Honestly, I would say it's a pretty big downgrade in his career, but obviously negotiations stalled in the end. Chelsea apparently expressed their interest in the beginning, but then pulled themselves out of the race, so it has to be fair to say that Niklas Sule, understandably decided to not go back on his decision and just leave the club anyway. Maybe Borussia Dortmund would be a good fit for him. He's 26. He still has years in ahead of him in his career. He still has some serious millage to go in his career. I genuinely believe he's a player that has abilities, but I think he didn't reach the best of those abilities with Bayern Munich. Of course, he didn't really reach the ceiling that was supposed to be expected for someone with his physical abilities, and he's not bad technically. Like, on the ball, he's a pretty good player as well. Here's some of his statements, of course, saying in the last few days and weeks, there's been lots of talk about me and speculation about what I want to do. I already decided for weeks ago to play for Borussia Dortmund in the future. He also said, from the moment they first contacted me, I felt that people in charge of the club were really eager to work with me. Of course, with Joachim Watzke there, Michael Zorg, the sporting director, Sebastian Kehl, of course, and the coach, Marco Rose, had given him the opportunity to play in Borussia Dortmund. Not surprising, I would say, as far as I'm concerned. Seeing Sule say these things, I'm not hateful for him. It's his career, it's his future. He has, of course, the right to decide where he will go, but in my opinion, that's a clear response to Karl-Heinz Rummenigge's statements before that about how he didn't reach the ceiling he's needed at Bayern. He wasn't impressive enough, quote unquote. You know, among those statements also he said something about Sabitzer, but I think the most talk was about Niklas Sule in particular, and how he wasn't the defender they thought he would be. That's what it boiled down to. More quotes for him. I had the feeling that I was wanted as a person and as a footballer. Like, if you didn't get that this was a response to Karl-Heinz Rummenigge's statements, you get it by this one. He says they made efforts for me, so I quickly knew where I was going to play in the future. Obviously, the contract negotiations stalled after you know, Niklas Sule asked for more money, basically, which is the norm per these situations with contracts. Of course, it has happened before with Koeman, but I think they found somewhere around it to renew his contract to 2027. They're in the works to renew Neuer's contract after renewing Kimmich and Goretzka's contract last year. Also, you know, it seems to be that Toliso's on the way to renew his contract there as well. The talks are ongoing. There's problems with the Gnabry situation. The Lewandowski contract expires with him and Muller, I think, still under negotiation. With their contracts both expire in 2023, so it's a pretty interesting situation as far as Bayern are concerned, as far as Niklas Sule are concerned. You know, of course, he's still training, of course, as you can see here in the video. He's still with the players training, of course. He will continue, obviously, the season with Bayern Munich, and he will leave in the summer for Borussia Dortmund. My final verdict on this one, I think, is I don't think you know, here by the way, here's a statement from Herbert Heiner. It's in French, but I'll translate it for you. He says that I don't know how much Niklas Sule will gain by going to Borussia Dortmund. I don't think it will be a progressive move for him from a sporting point of view, which I completely agree, to be fair. I respect Borussia Dortmund as a club, as a big club in Germany, but I don't think it's a big progressive movement as far as Niklas Sule are concerned. I mean, it's definitely something you know, that will set him behind a little bit. Anyway, that's it for this little bit of a short video trying to react, I would say, to Niklas Sule officially leaving Bayern, giving a couple of thoughts about this. In the end, just to wrap it up, again, I think Niklas Sule is definitely a player that has a lot of potential. Still has years ahead of him. He could reach it. He could, you know, play a couple of years maybe for Dortmund, improve, show himself that it can be a real defender, can be a really good defender. I thought he was impressive for Bayern enough. Like, for the limitations he can have, he's still impressive, and at least in some ways he's much better than other defensive options that Bayern had or even have at the moment. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Of course, there's no recap of the day. I've been changing the sort of the format of the channel a little bit. I'll just post podcast episodes hopefully and on Spotify, and until I find a regular schedule to post on YouTube, I will keep you updated. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, HUD of the BSB, and goodbye.